Hello, my good friends. I hope everybody is well. This week's parsha is Bamidbar. Unfortunately, we're not going to read it in shul, but you should read it at home. And the Gemara and the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch relate that Bamidbar is always read before the Yontif of Shavuos. Shavuos is just a few days away. We read this Shabbos. We read the parsha Bamidbar. There are various explanations, but I think that a very obvious and simple explanation is that we read Bamidbar because the Torah was given in the Midbar. It was given in Midbar Sinai, on Har Sinai, and therefore it's appropriate to read the Parsha of Bamidbar right before the Yontif of Shavuos. But that raises an obvious question, and that is, why indeed was the Torah given in a Midbar and on Har Sinai in the middle of a Midbar? HaKadosh Baruch Hu could have chosen any setting he wanted for the giving of the Torah. And you know, the Medrash says that the Kabbalas HaTorah was a marriage of sorts between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Jewish people. God was the Chassan, the Jewish people were the Kala. And in fact, the Medrash says that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu took the mountain, Kafaleim Har Kegigas, he placed the mountain over their heads and said, if you don't accept the Torah, you'll be buried under the mountains. But the Medrash says that was the chuppah for the Jewish people, that mountain over their heads. So this was a marriage ceremony. Who would want to make a marriage in a desert? Imagine if a chassan and kala would get engaged, a young man and a young woman would become chassan and kala, and the chassan would say, you know what, I'm going to arrange for the location for our wedding. And the kala says, okay, you'll take care of it. He says, don't worry, you're going to love it. It's going to be, you'll see, it'll be a terrific place. So one afternoon he says, let's go for a drive. I'm going to show you where our wedding will be. He takes her for a drive, and they come to a sports stadium, and surrounding the sports stadium is this huge, massive parking lot, and he drives someplace in the middle of the parking lot. He parks the car, and he asks her to get out, and he says, here it is. This is where our wedding is going to be. Well, he probably will not get married, that young man, because his kala will be mortified to have a wedding in the middle of a parking lot. Worse than a parking lot is to have a wedding in the middle of a midbar. If you've been to the Midbar Sinai in Eretz Yisrael or Midbar Yehuda, a midbar is totally desolate. There's no animal life, there's no plant life. It's totally dead. All there is in the midbar is sand and sand dunes. It's like the worst place in the world to want to make a chasana. Why in the world would HaKadosh Baruch Hu select the midbar for the giving of the Torah? And furthermore, if they had to be already in the midbar on Har Sinai, HaKadosh Baruch Hu could have easily enhanced the area with beautiful scenery, and he could have had rose gardens and plush lawns and trees growing from the mountain. Instead, he left it completely barren. Why was that the case? Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu give the Torah in such an environment? When you go shopping and you walk down the aisles in the supermarkets or the department stores, most things are packaged in boxes or in packages. And the packages are designed specifically to draw attention of the attention of the consumer. So, for example, you're walking down the supermarket aisle in the cereal section, and there's this bright yellow box of Cheerios, and it draws your attention. The box is almost more exciting than the Cheerios. The Cheerios are just plain little circles, but you have this fancy yellow box, and that the manufacturer hopes will interest the consumer in buying the Cheerios. I remember when I was engaged and I went with my parents, Aleim Hashalom, to purchase a diamond for Fagi, for a diamond ring. And we went to 47th Street, the Diamond District, and my parents had a close friend, Jack Birnbaum, Olav Hashalom, who was a diamond dealer. And we went in up to the second floor. The bottom floor was where all the public displays of the jewelry and the diamonds takes place. But the second floor were offices. We came into his office, and it was a very small, simple office. And he tells us, he's sitting behind the desk, he says, I have the most beautiful and magnificent diamond to show you. And he opens his drawer, And out of the drawer, he takes, looked like tissue paper, folded up carefully, and he unwraps the tissue paper, and then he shows us in the middle of the tissue paper, he holds it in the palm of his hand. He says, here, you see this diamond? Isn't that magnificent? And I thought it somewhat strange at the time. Why doesn't he have the diamond in a box? Why does he have to keep it in tissue paper? And why isn't it in a beautiful setting? Why is it wrapped up in tissue paper? And I realized later it's because Cheerios perhaps needs a beautiful yellow box to entice the consumer to purchase the product. A diamond doesn't need a package. A diamond stands on its own. A diamond has natural beauty, and therefore it does not have to have a beautiful package to entice the consumer to be able to appreciate the beauty of the diamond. In Megillah Esther, the Megillah says that Uvhagia Tor Esther Vasavichayel, when the turn of Esther came to go before Achashverosh, Lo Biksha Dover, she didn't ask for anything. She didn't ask for perfume or makeup. She didn't need it. It was unnecessary for her. Because nonetheless, she found favor. She was captivating in the eyes of everybody that saw her. She was like a diamond. She didn't need Lobiksha Davar. She didn't ask for anything. She didn't need anything superficial in order for her beauty to radiate from her presence. And the word Bamidbar is very similar to the word Davar, Lobiksha Davar. Bamidbar perhaps is a contraction. A me davar, not Bamidbar, but midbar. Me davar. I said Bamidbar. I meant midbar. Midbar is a desert. The midbar perhaps is a contraction of me davar, from the thing or from stuff. Davar is the stuff. In a midbar, there's the absence. It's taken away. It's me davar. There is no davar. There's nothing there. There's just the sand dunes. And that was Esther Lobiksha Davar. She didn't need any davar. In all our houses, we have davar. We have stuff. I know I go into my basement. I don't even know how I got all the accumulated dvarim, stuff that I have on shelves, gadgets, and tchotchkelach over the course of my married life to Fegi. You accumulate dvarim as you go through life. And in a midbar, there is no davar. It's just the stillness of the area and the sand alone. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the Torah to the Jewish people, had he taken the Jewish people to some plush area or a fancy hotel, that would have distracted from the beauty of the Torah. The Torah was like a diamond. It doesn't need any fancy packaging. And the lesson is very powerful. The Torah can be given in a midbar, in a place of total and complete desolation, and it makes no difference because the essence of Torah is not diminished at all by the external surroundings. And if anything, if there would have been fancy or beautiful or plush environment, that would have detracted from the beauty of the Torah. It would have been distraction for the people to be in. They would have walked around and looked at the gardens and look how fancy and look how beautiful. And that's why Torah was given in a midbar. I remember when one of my children was 2 years old, he had a birthday, and my wife and I bought him a fire truck. And we were so excited, we thought he would really love the fire truck, and the fire truck was packaged in a big fancy box. And when we brought it home, we put it on the floor, my son was drawn to the box. He loved that box. So we took the fire truck out of the box and we showed him how you could put it on the floor and you could push it and it opens up this way and that way. He wasn't interested at all. He only wanted to play with the box because it looked so interesting, that box. And as we go through life, what happens is instead of focusing on the things that are important, we end up paying attention to the box, to the wrapping, to the packaging, to the colors, and the things that are alluring, and we fail to see the things that are most important and essential in life. I tried to give chizuk to a kala recently who got married in a backyard wedding there was no band, and there was hardly anybody there. There was 10 people. It was a very austere and simple wedding. And I said to her that, sometimes when people, I know everybody you dreamt of having a beautiful wedding, but you have to look at it this way. Sometimes, if a wedding, it takes place in a fancy hotel, and there's beautiful flowers all over, and the decor of the hotel is just amazing. So people, instead of focusing on the essence of the simcha, which is the marriage of the chassan and kala, they're distracted by all the other things that are taking place in the wedding. And when you get married in a backyard, there is nothing to distract from the essence of what the simcha is all about. The simcha is the establishing of a relationship, creating a new home of the chassan and kala. And she told me afterwards that indeed it was a magnificent simcha. There was a certain intimacy to the simcha because there was nothing to distract. It was in a backyard. There's nothing external to detract from the simcha of the chasana. So as we approach the yontif of Shavuos and we read the parsha of Bamidbar, it's well worth thinking about the following question, and that is our life full of davar? Is it just stuff? Is it things? Or are we able to focus on the essence, on the diamonds in life? Are we busy with things that are trivial and of no consequence and no meaning? Or is our life meaningful and purposeful? And it's so easy to lose sight of the diamonds that we have. Our neshama is a diamond, and our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a diamond, and our families, our children, and our spouses, and our parents, and our siblings, and our friends, these are all diamonds. And we have the ability to perform mitzvos, to do chesed, to study Torah. That's really the essence of what life is all about. That's the pnimius, the essence. Torah life does not care about the chitzonius. The external trappings are really not what's important. And we have to consider whether perhaps we have not been distracted by things that are of no consequence. And these past few weeks that we've been in a state of hibernation, I think that we intuitively appreciate and recognize that life is not all about the external stuff. That's just trappings. But the essence of life and the things that are essential and important. I wish everyone a good Shabbos and hope that in Mirz Hashem you all stay healthy and well.